This is how I built discipline, and I can stay disciplined even now, over 2 years after I first started to be disciplined. So whatever it is in life, you want to start fighting, or you want to start a business, get onto self-improvement, start going to the gym, anything that you find you want to go into, you usually start with a whole bunch of motivation, and you're really ready, you just cannot wait to get into that. That's the first stage, motivation. That usually lasts for minimum a day up to maximum probably 3 weeks. But motivation is fleeting. You cannot rely on motivation because it's short term. You want to do it when you have the motivation. So if you have motivation to do something, go ahead right into it and use that motivation to push yourself further, because then you get the momentum to keep going and get further on. So use motivation if you have it, but if you're watching this video, you likely don't have the motivation anymore. So an example of my discipline is I wake up every morning and I go take a cold shower first thing in the morning. Now the reason why this is so amazing is because it's not only a cold shower. I take a cold shower in the morning, but look outside. Because it's so cold outside, I get colder water. That's at least what I think, because the water's been getting colder since it started to turn into winter. What I just showed you now is how it looks when it's -1 degree Celsius midday. And it's great to do it in the morning because you're in bed, you're warm, you don't want to get out, and so on. So that is an example of discipline. If you're just getting into something, I would suggest that you use your motivation to get into it, kind of feel the waters, understand what you have to do, and then as the motivation starts to leave, that's when you can start to just suck it up and keep going. For example, if you don't want to go to the gym today, just push through it and go. Sometimes you just have to look at yourself in the mirror, slap yourself in the face, journal about how dumb you're being. For discipline, you have to get mad at yourself to actually get yourself to do it. Or you can just not say anything and just have a clear mental state and then just go out and do it. I used to run to the beach every morning and plunge in it for about 10 minutes, and then it started to change into where I was just in and out. But I woke up, I knew I had to go and do that, so I didn't think about it. I didn't think, oh, I don't want to do this, I don't want to have to go. It's going to be so cold, the run is going to be 7 minutes there and 7 minutes back. I didn't think about that. I just thought about, I have to get out of bed now. The alarm's on. I have to turn it off. I have to get out of bed. That's it. Once I got out of bed, I knew that I had to put a shirt on or put on some clothing or get my shoes on and get my bag packed. Then the next step was to put my bag on and go to the door. Then open the door and go down the stairs. Then when I'm down the stairs, I start stretching. Start warming up a little bit if I wanted to. Then next step is just start running that way. So sometimes you just have to turn off your brain, become present in the present moment, and just do it. And if you cannot be present, you're not mindful enough, you haven't been meditating enough, just focus on the next step. So the next step to go to the gym wouldn't be going to the gym and hitting a hard workout. It would be putting your shoes on, packing your bag. When I don't want to sit down and journal 2 pages, I don't think about journaling 2 pages. I think about picking up the pencil, opening the journal, and just staring at the page. One of the ways that I got really good at consistent cold showers, back even when I just started taking cold showers, was I went into the bathroom. I went, basically shower head's here. I just sat there, just thinking, or trying to be present, just convincing myself that it's going to be okay. Or I would just turn on the water. It'll drop in front of you. You're not really in it yet. Maybe you put your hands in or your feet in, and you just sit there until you build up the confidence, courage, and motivation to actually get in. And then once you're in, it's more painful being in, but at least you're in, so you know where to go from there. So if you want to build the discipline to do something, think of my cold shower method. You want to step into the shower, you want to be under the shower head, or you want to just be looking at the running water. If you don't want to go to the gym, go into the gym and just stand in the gym looking at the weights. If you don't want to go on a run, put your shoes on, go outside, and just stand outside. If you don't want to do bag work, put on your gloves, stand in front of the bag and just look at it. Because you've done 90% of the work. Getting yourself to the bag, putting the gloves on, getting ready to hit the bag, and now you're just looking at it. So you have two options. You can take everything off and go back 90%, or you can just start hitting it. Start warming up, going easily until you can fully do it. And the reason why cold showers are so important to me, being able to do it, is because for my whole life, literally from when I was born to about 12 years old, like early days of self-improvement, my life was basically, if we go to the beach and I feel the water and it's too cold, I'm not swimming. And it would be like slightly uncomfortable, and so I wouldn't swim. While everyone else was swimming and having a good time, and I was just sitting there watching because it was too cold. So now that I've beaten that struggle, it means so much to me. For some people, they've been addicted to sugar their whole lives, like I was. And then once you beat it, it means so much to you because it's finally pushing through that one thing. Now on a lower scale, if you're sitting with the book open and you don't want to read, you're sitting there with the book and you don't want to read, then I don't exactly know where I got this from. I know it was one of the books, but someone said, if you're sitting there, basically procrastinating, maybe you're on your phone and you're meant to be reading, or you're just standing there at the gym and you need to actually do something, but you're thinking and overthinking and just not doing anything. You're procrastinating. One of the ways to basically turning it off and on, like restarting it, is count from 3 backwards. So go 3, 2, 1. That's obviously making your brain function in a certain way, thinking about counting but backwards. But it triggers something in your brain that kind of wakes you up, kind of makes you present, makes you there. So you're like, what am I just doing standing here? And that'll start to get you into it. Now those were all like practical, cute ways of being more disciplined and not having to rely on motivation and using these little tactics to just get started. But the truth behind discipline is that it sucks. You don't want to do it. Like Alex Hormozy said. He said when he has to work 14-hour days in business, he doesn't think poor me. He thinks poor everyone else because they're going to have to try to keep up with me. My competition is going to have to keep up with my 14-hour work days. When faced with something you don't want to do, you're just going to have to suck it up. Try smiling. It increases serotonin levels, which makes you just more happy, and then you're more likely to do it. You can use the tactics that I've said before, but a lot of the time you just gotta suck it up and do it. And sometimes you'll get into that rut of a few months even, where you just don't want to do anything. And that's when you gotta restart. You gotta restart from the bottom, meditating 5 minutes per day like you started with. I used to think that, if I don't want to meditate, I haven't meditated for 2 weeks in a row now, I have to meditate, but I don't want to. So suck it up, and I'm going to do 1 hour of meditation straight right now. Then I sit down, 10 minutes in, I get sick of it, bored, turn off the thing. I think to myself, it's not even worth it. But the problem there isn't me sitting and overthinking. It's me showing up, but expecting too much. For example, when I go into the MMA gym and we're sparring, I've been going for quite a while. I can do some nice spinning kicks, and I can do some flashy, strong kicks to people's heads and knock them out cold. And people do that to me. Luckily, I block it or get out of the way, or I'm too far away, or they hold back too much to where it's too slow. But then when a new guy comes in, he says, this is my first time training. This actually happened. This is my first time training. I just watched some fights. I really want to get into it. And so we're sparring, and he sees everyone else going for the spinning heel kicks and the wheel kicks and the back kicks and all these crazy kicks. And he tries it out. Of course, he fails miserably, and he doesn't get close to hitting me. But it's like, would you really expect them to be able to do a 360 spinning heel kick to the head on their first day? No. So they gotta start with learning how to throw the jab out, or learning how to piece together a combination, or learn how to get the leg kick in, the first kick. So if you're really falling behind and you're in that rut phase that I was just in, then try to start at the bottom. Start again. Because if you're going up and then you fall into that rut and you go straight down, then you can keep trying to go really hard and keep trying to get back up to where you were, and you'll just keep going down because you're trying to meditate for an hour when you're at 5 minutes a day level. So if you just start to slowly ramp it up, you'll actually get further than if you tried to push through it and muscle your way through. Now, even like David Goggins, his mindset would be just do it, because there's all this talking and just do it. And I totally agree with that, but it is hard to keep that going, especially when you're doing reading, meditation, journaling, and you're doing all these different things. So if you can just push through it, then you probably wouldn't be watching this video. But of course, it is great advice. Oh, I haven't run in 4 weeks. Then go on a run. But if you've tried that like I did, and you just cannot keep consistent with it, then try from the bottom. Start again. I hope this helped.